Now that I'm finally awake from my 9-month nap, I'm going to talk about some movies from last year. A mix of best and my favorites. I don't think I have a particular order this time around, these are just what I would call the 10 best movies of 2022, from what I saw. You may not see certain movies on here, but that's because I either didn't see them, or they're trash and your opinion is wrong. Let's get started. Not every movie I loved can make it to the top 10. Some that stood out to me, but just missed the cut, deserve a quick shout out. The Outfit is a crime drama all taking place in one cutter's shop, and it feels like an incredible tense stage play, with fun banter and gripping drama. The Northman follows a young prince on his journey to avenge his father while finding love and gruesome action along the way. Stunning and creepy visuals make this Norse tale worth a viewing. If you're tired of seeing the same musician biopics that come out every year, why not give Weird, the Al Yankovic story a watch? A very true story where all the events definitely happened. True to its name, the movie has great gags, twists, and so much charm. Being a huge Weird Al fan on top of that, I couldn't recommend this movie enough to any other fan. A very well done and personal feeling movie that tells the tale of the Weinstein accusations coming to light, respectfully told to give power back to those who feel all was taken from them, giving a stronger context to those who didn't know many of the details that went into the story coming out in the first place. Benoit Blanc returns in Glass Onion. Some might have been disappointed by the fact that Knives Out seems to be the superior mystery flick, but when taking a step back, they're not so directly comparable. That's partly what makes the sequel work so much for me. It's a new cast of over-the-top rich folk being the most dramatic, all while our detective unveils a mystery that you didn't even realize he's actually solving for a good chunk of the movie. Worth a watch if you enjoy the style of the previous movie. Now, let's get started with the actual top 10. Starting things off is the newest version of the Caped Crusader in The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, who wrote the film alongside Peter Craig, starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, and John Turturro. The Dark Knight is still a classic, but I consider this installment to be my new favorite Batman movie to date, taking a new look and style to the live-action scene for the character. Labeled as the world's greatest detective for so long, now he has an actual neo-noir film to really focus on that. Pattinson plays the role so well as a young, angsty Bruce Wayne that still carries the anger of his past that hasn't fully matured yet. A great mix of the gritty look that live-action Batman is forced to have these days, but still having those fun, dramatic set pieces and an engaging cast of characters to interact with. Not only is the theme by Michael Giacchino foreboding and threatening, but somehow they're able to use Nirvana in a weirdly natural way that fits right into place.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
The winner of Best Picture at this past Academy Awards, Everything Everywhere All at Once, isn't going to get much argument from me. Written and directed by Daniels Kwan and Scheinert, this comedy drama follows Evelyn Wang, a woman who must connect to other universes to save the multiverse and possibly her own family's relationship. A film that loves to have fun and just be free to be itself, while at the same time having the emotional weight of what all the characters are going through to make it a joy to watch. Visually stunning, exciting fight scenes, a heartwarming message, and a very unique movie to make such an impact and wide appeal is great to see.
Alright, so I'm making like a little documentary.
Oh, it's like a movie, but nobody has any lines and nobody even knows what it is while they're making it. No?
Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is another fantastic watch from A24. This mockumentary is about a filmmaker befriending a small sentient shell who needs help finding his lost family, hoping to be reunited. Starring Jenny Slate, Dean Fletcher Camp, and Isabella Rossellini. A much quieter, simpler, but at the same time just as emotionally impactful film. A growing relationship between human and talking shell, the journey of lost, reconnection, perseverance, and optimism. It'll tug at your heartstrings, but always give you a little bit of hope at the end.
But that's why back at the Haywood Ranch, as the only black-owned horse trainers in Hollywood, we like to say since the moment pitchers could move, yeah, skin in the game.
Nope takes a step toward the sci-fi mixed with neo-western genres, written and directed by Jordan Peele. Two siblings learn of the possibility of a UFO sighting right by their ranch. They attempt to capture footage of its existence. Starring Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, Stephen Yen, Brandon Perea, and Michael Wincott. The cast of characters all having their own backstories to how they got where they are, and how everything comes together. The mystery is alluring, haunting imagery, thought-provoking commentary on the relationships of humans and animals, the entertainment industry, and how we as a society deal with tragedies. And it also has an Akira slide, so go watch it for that too.
I have a story.
Okay.
I'm in West Texas, where this family just lost their daughter to an opiate overdose.
Vengeance is a black comedy mystery about a New York writer traveling to the middle of nowhere, Texas, to solve the murder of a girl he once hooked up with due to a misunderstanding from her family. Directed and written by B.J. Novak, who also stars in the main role alongside Boyd Holbrook, J. Smith Cameron, Issa Rae, and Ashton Kutcher. Novak brings us a really entertaining and also smart self-reflection on how people in the modern day view others, either with friends and family or strangers, whether they be in person or online, how our egos and the world we surround ourselves in cause unnecessary judgments to people we've never met or know as a whole, and paint in broad strokes entire communities and chunks of the country. Vengeance is a great character-motivated movie that also has a very interesting mystery thriller plot to push the character growth.
You can't solve something like this with a 45. It's the breakdown of society is what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's very wise.
You're gonna need a 12 gauge, a couple of ARs,
No.
Western automatic, and a sidearm for safety.
Exactly.
Where are you right now? I'm in an Uber.
Call him Sonny Larry. Didn't you and he used to be the best of friends?
The Banshees of Inisherin is another wonderful, simple setting and story, but it's the people who carry this movie. A tragic comedy written and directed by Martin McDonagh, starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson as two lifelong friends whose lives get thrown into chaos after one abruptly ends the friendship. The coldness, naivety, love, disgust, heartbreak, vengeful, and goddamn insanity these people get across is what makes this such a view. Things get even more and more out of hand, pun possibly intended, until a point of no return is truly met from all sides. A modern tragedy worth checking out if you haven't already.
Let's just call it quits.
We won't call it quits. We'll call it the start.
Is that gonna fit everyone?
Yeah, easily. 12 customers total.
How do they turn a profit?
$12.50 a head, that's how.
What are we eating, a Rolex?
Directed by Mark Millard and written by Seth Rice and Will Tracy. The menu, much like the food that centers around the story, is structured in courses, each being more delicious than the last. Starring Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. The subtle but powerful building of tension right out of the gate, with each reveal unfolding a new layer of chaos. The message is personal, but applicable to most industry forms of consumerism, bringing in every type of person involved with these kind of communities. The critics, the insiders, the clout chasers, the upper class, and the fanboys. And if the thrilling story, great performances, and in-depth script weren't good enough, it also has great comedic timing, in moments where you're not expecting to get a laugh to break the serious tone for a second to give you some levity from time to time.
It's okay.
No, we're gonna die tonight.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Guillermo del Toro's dark fantasy musical adaptation is a great reason to skip Disney Plus and go straight to Netflix for the actual Pinocchio movie worth watching. Del Toro directed the film with Mark Gustafson, wrote the story with Matthew Robbins, and the screenplay with Patrick McHale. Del Toro's passion for the character shines through so powerfully here. The creative and unique visuals, designs, animation, and direction. A focus on the balance of life and death, and how we as people carry that burden. Learning, failing, and becoming better, much like the cricket and the wooden boy, is the very heart of the film. It's a little more mature than the Disney adaptations, and can definitely be a little heavier than expected for your younger kids, but it's worth showing if you believe they'd be ready for something like this.
Life is such a wonderful gift.
I know these rules can feel constraining, but remember, the point of this course is to learn how to write clearly and persuasively. Think about that. Think about the truth of your argument.
The Whale is a psychological drama based on the 2012 play of the same name, about a morbidly obese English teacher who tries to repair his relationship with his estranged daughter, directed by Darren Aronofsky and written by Samuel D. Hunter, starring Brendan Fraser, Sadie Sink, Hong Chow, Ty Simpkins, and Samantha Morton. The Whale is one of the most upsetting but also uplifting movies of 2022, a fusion of people at their lowest and actions that feel outright hateful, fueled by feelings of betrayal while having to combat their own possible wants of reconciliation. The need of a desperate man to feel like he can somehow redeem himself, even when given just a finite amount of time left. The people in his life or those suddenly returning help shape the message in that way, highlighting the drastic differences in how two different people can see the exact same person. Another movie asking us to look at ourselves, our relationships, and our lives as a whole, and asking us to, at the very least, live an honest and true life.
The legend will never die!
Puss in Boots, you died.
I have 9 lives.
And how many times have you died already?
And speaking of being honest, when I first heard about this movie being a thing, I, probably like many others, felt it was an odd choice to make a sequel to a kids movie that came out 11 years prior, and expectations were at the very best, middling curiosity. But I'll be good and goddamned if this didn't end up being one of the best animated movies I've seen this year. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is directed by Joel Crawford and written by Tommy Swerdlow and Paul Fisher, starring Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Harvey Guillen, Florence Pugh, John Mulaney, and Wagner Moura. Puss ends up using 8 of his 9 lives, so to restore his count back up, he journeys to find the magical wishing star, but he's not the only one in chase for that one granted wish. Why is this movie so good? It didn't have to try this hard, but it did, because the people who made it actually care about what they make, and it shows through and through. The multiple styles of animation used interchangeably, depending on the actions of the scene, the wonderful character progression, the very tender story that balances grim acceptance, genuine heart, great comedic timing, and beautiful art, all in one swift and lovely package. Why is this movie so good? I love it.
Espresso.
And those are my top 10 movies of 2022. Soon I'll be back with the 10 worst, so check back for that video in a few days.